I liked Lauren Hill's piece this week on leashless surfing
Yeah.
in Byron. Were you involved in that?
Yeah, we published it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lauren pitched it. She goes, I want to do it. I said, you sure? Because you saw, it was a whole mess of hot takes there for a week or so.
Yeah.
But Lauren's a fairly considered voice. So you'd imagine that whatever she'd put together would be some kind of voice of reason around it, which it turned out to be.
Yeah. Amidst, like you said, kind of all the cacophony of opinions or people shouting at each other, it was nice for her to say, look, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not saying what should be done in general. Here's my experience, basically.
Yeah.
And here's how I learned how to be more conservative and how not to take off in precarious situations and not burn people and all put myself in a position where I would lose my board and it might hit somebody else, all because I learned without a leash. Here's what I learned from surfing without a leash. It was like, oh wow, that makes a lot of sense. One person's opinion, you know,
Yeah,
one
totally.
person's story.
Yeah. The whole idea of it, regulating itself and so, and that idea of personal responsibility and that idea of keeping it in the back of your head that if you're bored, you lose your board, and thinking of it hitting a kid and it will change the way you surf.
Absolutely, yeah. I thought she summed it up. She summed up really well what is really difficult to communicate to anybody else about the virtues of not wearing a leash, you know?
Yeah.
Like if and I understand why people who may be newer to surfing or learned how to surf at one of those super crowded point breaks would not understand why you wouldn't want to wear a leash. If they
Yeah.
came up in that world, then of course you would want to wear a leash. But if you've been around surfing for a long time and you've learned away from crowds and you've had to learn how to swim in for your boards and how to surf big days where you had to navigate it without having a leash on, you are ultra conservative and you learn how to swim. You learn not to even paddle out unless you know how to swim. Like there's
Totally.
all of
Yeah.
this inherent virtue that comes with it that is irreplaceable that you don't learn anywhere else. It's like you learning the ABCs, and with the leash, you just jump into the middle of the alphabet without learning those basics, essentially. And so
Yeah.
she summed all that up great, really well.
Yeah, totally. And but it's been, an interesting couple of weeks since they brought that in, that's for sure.
Yeah, yeah. We're all watching. We're all watching, waiting to see what the implications are for the rest of us.